Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to Under the Arc Sports. I'm Eric.
And I'm David.
And today we're going to talk a little Blues hockey. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and find us on Facebook and Instagram. We did a video, it was 4 games into the season. The Blues were 2-1-1 at that point. And, here we are 6 games later. The first thing I want to talk about is a little housekeeping. The game against Vegas that was postponed due to Vegas, their COVID issues, that's been rescheduled for March 22nd. That's going to be in Vegas at 9 p.m. Central Time. Right. So since the last video where they were 2-1-1, the Blues have upped their record to 7-2-1. They're on a 4-game winning streak right now. They've got 15 points, which is tied with the Avalanche for the most in the West. Keeping in mind that the Blues have a game in hand over Colorado there. They are both tied for second most in hockey. Montreal has 1 more point. They've got 16. It is worth noting that Vegas had 11 points in just 7 games before all their COVID stuff kind of put their season in a pause. So they are good enough. We'll see what happens with them. Dave, the last 6 games, I would say things are not perfect, but they are definitely better than the first 4.
Yeah, they've definitely done a lot of work to improve, especially on the defensive side of things. As you said, I have yet to see a full perfect game. Probably the Anaheim game is the closest one to that.
Yeah, and I think that might be a little bit of it. The last 6 games have been it's been the one against Vegas, but then the Kings, the Ducks, and the Coyotes. So the schedule's opened up a little bit, and it's helped. The Blues, for a second, looked like they were having an issue with the second game of the 2-game set, but then they just kind of had their way with Anaheim. So maybe they're figuring that out.
Well, and it does help that the competition is, I don't want to say less competitive, but their teams the Blues should be beating if they want to be in the top 3 or 4.
Yeah, and that's the key. Looking at how the Blues have played, Jordan Kyrou in 10 games, 5 goals, 7 assists. He's got 12 points. That's the most on the team. The guy's been spectacular.
Yeah, he's definitely been a workhorse for us. Another guy who's really turned it on this year has been Braden Shin. He has 6 goals and 4 assists with 10 points.
Yeah, and they're turning into your go-to guys offensively, especially with Tarasenko being out. Tarasenko kind of teased fans a few days ago, posting a little boomerang thing on his Instagram story of him lacing some skates up. So Tarasenko may be back soon, and that'll definitely help the offense. What do you think about Vince Dunn?
I don't know. He's played 1 game since they ended up scratching him, giving him a healthy scratch.
Yeah, he was a healthy scratch, and everyone's talking about, man, we got to dump him. Trade. The potential's obvious. So the asking price would be steep if the Blues were to try and trade him. What I've seen would say they would need a first rounder out of somebody.
Well, I don't even know if you would go that far to trade him. I think right now they're just trying to get him right. He didn't have a bad game when they did finally play him again. So.
Yeah, what was it? Against Arizona, he got himself a goal, maybe get himself out a little bit of a funk. And also, Ryan O'Reilly got himself a goal, which sorely needed. That was just his 2nd on the season.
Yeah, another player I want to see really get going is Thomas. Because he has 5 assists and he's doing really well offensively, but he still has yet to score. And I don't know if it's because he's not shooting the puck enough and he's looking more to pass, but I think with his talent, he should be scoring more goals.
Yeah. And got to mention everybody's whipping boy from the end of last season and in the bubble in Edmonton, Justin Falk. Got the best plus minus on the team.
Yeah, which I didn't even realize, but good job to him, especially with like how our penalty kill has been this year.
Yeah. You're talking about special teams. That was a key point in the video I did after the first 4 games. The Blues power play was 0 for the first 4 games. 0 for like 13 or something like that. However many chances they had, they got nothing. The power play since then in the last 6 games, they are 4 for 18, 22.2%. So they've definitely picked it up. They have that 22.2% in the 6 games combined with the first 4 games going over. That adds up to 25th in the NHL at 12.5%. So overall, pretty ugly, but improving. Now, penalty killing. What do you think about the penalty killing? I know you got thoughts on this.
Oh my. Yeah, it's just a hot mess. The first 4 games, we were at 61.9%. I don't even know what the ranking in the NHL was, but if it wasn't dead last, it was real close.
400th.
Yeah. After that, the next 6 games ended up being 78.3%, averaging the whole season out so far at a 69.8%, which puts us at 28th. So the last 6 games, we've seen a little bit of an improvement. However, it's still a hot mess. You can't have those numbers, especially for a possible playoff team. And one of my biggest concerns with that is the team is averaging about 10 penalty minutes a game. That's just way too many.
Yeah, so both units have improved. The difference is the power play over the last 6 games being 22.2%. That's a great number, all right? The penalty kill has improved to a less awful number. You know, if it were 88.3%, then you would say, okay, all right, we can work with that. But 78.3, that's still garbage. That's 18 out of 23 penalties killed over the past 6 games. Oddly enough, going through looking at each individual game, the Blues have given up exactly 1 power play goal in each of the last 6 games, except for the 6-1 win over Anaheim. They killed all 3 penalties in that game. But to your point about the sheer number of penalty minutes, looking at the last 6 games since our last video against LA, 10 minutes in each game. Against Vegas, 17 penalty minutes. Against Anaheim, 13 minutes in the first one, then 4 minutes in the second one against Anaheim. That's at least a sign, hopefully. And then against Arizona, 10 more penalty minutes. That ain't going to work over the course of the entire season.
A lot of those penalty minutes were stupid penalties, too. Like, they get a stake down and end up getting a tripping penalty, or they get an interference penalty called. What was it, the last game that had an interference call on a power play where we had a double minor in our favor, which negated like half of that power play. I mean, they're just shooting themselves in their foot with dumb penalties. I also remember like 4 of the games they had like too many men on the ice at times, and they got called for.
Yeah, Dave, take a look at the Blues' schedule coming up here. They're in the midst of a really tough stretch. Going back to January 23rd and 24th, that was the back-to-back games over the weekend against the LA Kings. Starting with that, the game on the 24th, the Blues are now playing a game every other day. And that continues through this weekend. And then the Blues play back-to-back games again against Colorado, 6th and 7th, Saturday and Sunday coming up. And then they play every other day again until after the 15th. And that's when they finally get 2 days off on the 16th and 17th. That is a really tough stretch. Games against one against Arizona, 2 hosting Colorado, 2 at Minnesota, 2 more at Arizona. And, you know, it's a challenge.
Yeah, especially for how many games they play just in a condensed time. One of the biggest concerns on this stretch would be penalty minutes as they get further and further into the schedule, because they're going to be exhausted. And when you're tired, that's when you start committing the cheap or mental errors, if you will. You might keep your stick on the ice too long, causing a trip. You might run across someone's path, causing an interference, or the too many men on the ice, such things. So that's something to keep an eye on as this schedule keeps moving on here.
Yeah, and you know, with the penalty minutes, the sheer number of penalty minutes the Blues have had and could have in this stretch, that's going to make it harder to get that PK percentage up. You know,
Right.
On the other hand, there's some serious opportunity here. We mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast here that the Blues are currently tied with Colorado. Well, back-to-back games, you know, you could in barely 24 hours go from tied to a 4-point advantage over Colorado with 2-game sweep here. Minnesota is just a couple of points back in third place. 2 games against them, the last team the Blues have yet to play this season. And the other 3 games in this stretch are against Arizona, who is not – they're not the top standings. Let's just say how it is. You know, 3 games against Arizona, that is an opportunity in and of itself. So by mid-February, the Blues could separate themselves from most of the teams in the division.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be fun to watch and see what happens next week or two. Anyway, that's all we have for this time. Thank you for watching Under the Arch Sports. Please remember to check out our Facebook and Instagram pages, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.